Hey everyone, I'm Leo Cloud, and I'm not that type of nerd, and here I have author of Magenta and a bunch of other books, and the co-author of the other guy, who was the hair guy. Well, not really, he wasn't the hair guy, but we had him on anyways. And this is the co-author, and he's here to tell us about his new... Is it new? Because I've seen it published before, and I saw it published under a new name, and I saw it published again. So what's going on there?
No, well, I mean, it's I put it out in March under a different name, and then under a different pen name as well. You know, basically the novel is called Magenta. Now that's the title today, and it's an extremely it's the kind of novel, and it's meant to be that can't be published. You know, it'll get you canceled to publish this. It's Magenta.
Well, everything will get you published with canceled nowadays, so you know.
Well, not quite. I mean, there are guidelines. You know, there's your guardrails to keep you inside those. And this idea is that there's a color coding to your thought and how acceptable it is. And Magenta is the absolutely most unacceptable level, right? And once you've reached Magenta on your color code scale, you are now untouchable. You've been canceled.
And this is IRL, or is this in the book?
That's all in the book, right?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about real life.
No, well, that's in the book, and that's real life, right? Yeah, because that's what's going on in China, right? That's called social credit
system. Yeah. Well, you know, I used to. Okay, so people don't know this about me. I actually grew up in China. I mean, okay, obviously, I'm not Chinese, and but I grew up. What they have with the social credit system is nothing new. It's just automized village ante or neighborhood antes. You're asking yourself, what the heck's a village? Well, in China, they from something, I think ever since the communists took over, they installed like one old, nasty ant in every neighborhood, so she can be the informant of everyone.
Right. It's very much like the Stasi did in Germany. But it's one thing to have a local snitch on every corner, and another thing to have every single one of the devices that you carry all the time in your car, on your laptop, every single one of them doing the same thing that old little ant used to do on the corner in China. So it's
he still does it. Poor ant, he's out of work with all of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's true, and that's been the case with totalitarian governments from the very get-go. And you know, Orwell himself projected a very technocratic society where technology had taken over the part of that little bitty on the corner who was minding everybody's business. Instead, now it would be technology. Now, a lot of people said, well, okay, that's crazy, because a totalitarian country could never develop the extremely sophisticated technology that it would take to do that sort of thing. And of course, they didn't need to. Silicon Valley did it for them.
They just bought it from the West, like everyone did. I mean, if you're not good at something, you get somebody else to do it. There's no shame in that. If you're not good at developing technology, just hire somebody who is.
But those corporations, the idea basically is that the two I should probably tell people something about what this book is about.
No, we don't do that here. We don't do that here.
We don't do that. We just talk over their heads.
I know, sorry. So, okay, go ahead. Fine, we'll give you an exception. I don't do exceptions, but I'll give you.
Okay.
Okay.
So these two corporate giants have decided to corner the market on the worst possible technology that could be used.
Oh, and they're married.
I'm sorry?
And they're married.
And
aren't they a couple?
They are secretly married, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So they are husband and wife, but the public doesn't really know that. But they have behind the scenes worked together to make sure that their equipment is the equipment that all of the worst dictators on earth buy.
Yes.
So that they can then throw this switch, and the switch is called free will.
Free will.
And it's this one golden switch, which they pass between each other every single year until the date that they will finally throw the switch and throw the entire world into an inflection point where the people of the world can decide whether or not they're going to be continuous slaves, or whether they're going to become free and cast off all the things that have been put upon them by their governments and their dictatorships that they live in. And so, and of course, America has been getting worse and worse and worse too, corrupted by the same technology and that they have been selling to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So, but one of them decides we can't destroy this. That was a childish notion. That was a notion to be put aside from our idealistic teenage years when we imagined doing this. But now it would be a disaster. We have to keep the system that we put in place. We have to keep it forever. We have to destroy free will. And so the other one at this time decides is onto him and realizes that he has changed his heart and that he wants to keep the machine that they've built all over the world. And she decides to hide free will with one person in the world that his machine is going to now have to try and find over the next year if he's going to be able to stop that switch from being flipped.
And that's the protagonist guy.
And that's the protagonist. Now, who is that protagonist going to be? That's the mystery at the opening of the book. Who is the person she chose? And is it somebody that his machine won't be able to find, even though it's this omniscient surveillance machine?
Describe the main character of Magenta.
Well, he's a bright, authentic kid who does not want to fake what he believes. And everyone around him he sees just simply agreeing without reflection to what they're being programmed to believe.
And he's really fun at parties.
So it's somebody who is not going to be just told 2 + 2 = 4. He wants to see the 2 apples and the other 2 apples and be able to say, okay, I understand they make 4 apples. It's not just going to memorize what is true. He's going to think about it personally and authentically and not accept anything on face value. So he's going through and learning and wanting to not compromise himself. And he sees kids around him playing games and completely lost in a world that is manipulating those kids and shaping those kids into exactly what the people who designed the system want them to become. Not be able to find him for a long enough period of time, at least 1 year, before that person can then flip this switch. So that's what Magenta is about. And it's about a world that's been completely color scaled. You can't purple color you possibly can.
Wouldn't that
So
be your
you've got all kinds of people who are they're the brown nosers who will try to get every single gold star they possibly can as they're going around on the internet. Every choice they make is to keep that badge as purple as possible. And if it starts fading into the other colors and then finally into magenta, and you're an outcast, very few people are willing to go there.
Yes.
So that's what's keeping everybody on the right track, and that's what all of the systems, all the technology, the entire internet has been created and engineered to do, to keep people into one ideological and being in love with each other is frowned upon. All that kind of thing becomes an interference with your devotion to the state and to the group and to the community. And that's one of the things that Magenta goes into. I just want to go into this just briefly, because I think it's important for the world right now. What we're seeing, and this book is obviously a cautionary tale about what we're hurtling towards.
Really, I thought that's journalism.
Yeah, exactly. It's very. I mean, I tried to stay ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when did you think of the GRX thing and the whole disease and how they treat people who don't comply with the stupid injections?
Well, I mean, just over the last couple of years, while I've been, finishing the book, trying to stay ahead while everything has been catching up.
You did it! Bravo!
I barely got it out in time. I mean, before everything in the book is true already.
If somebody wasn't too good, if somebody in the future would read it and he wasn't too good in his day, that's like, yeah, this guy just journalistic. He just got new.
Exactly. But let me just say that I think that one of the worst problems that we have right now, and that is being done culturally, is this insistence on group identity.
Oh yeah.
And they keep chopping up the groups finer as though that's making it even more personal.
Yeah, they're calling it intersectionality or something.
Yeah, and they're chopping up, like your sexual identity to these tinier fractions of, oh yeah, I'm a furry who likes this, and they're dicing them up into these little categories as though that's going to make it more human and more individualistic. What they're trying to do is they're trying to completely destroy individuality. If everybody identifies themselves as a category or a group or a community of this, that, or the other thing, then they're no longer thinking of themselves as individuals. Now, individuals are the only thing in the universe that need freedom and autonomy.
You're all individuals.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm not, right. So if we get rid of that, if we get rid of that last individual there,
yeah,
then there's nothing blocking the state from controlling everybody, because
and worse than that, it's just a boring bunch of losers.
Individuals are the only thing that need freedom. Yeah, it's the whole novel is about the right to disagree.
Yeah.
The right to disagree. The right to say, I don't agree with everyone else. Yeah. Everyone. I disagree with everyone. Right? To be able to do that is what causes all human progress.
Yes.
So if we can't do that, there's no future. There's no progress.
Yeah, it's I've got another question. How hard is it to find a 6-foot-tall redheaded woman?
I was engaged to a 6'1" woman.
How tall are you?
You keep asking how tall I am. Why are you fascinated by how tall I am?
Well, because I have a lot of insecurities about my own height or lack thereof.
I'm 5'9" and
I'm 5'7". Oh my God, you're so tall. Oh, you're so tall. I'm 5'7".
Well, okay. Anyway, it didn't matter to me.
All right. And Jojo Pendleton is a reference to the Beatles, right?
No. Jojo Pendleton is not a reference to the Beatles.
Because I know there was a Beatles song with Pendleton, and there was the Beatles song with Jojo, and it's not a Jojo reference.
I don't know that song.
Jojo is okay. So long story short.
Oh, Jojo.
Yeah.
The name Jojo, yeah, is in a particular song by the Beatles.
No, but no, there was this super popular anime and manga that's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and people reference it all the time. So it became a meme. That's a JoJo reference. Now, JoJo is not a JoJo reference. That blows my mind, because everything else in the world is a JoJo reference except JoJo. You don't know JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, do you?
Nope.
No, not a JoJo. Guys, it's confirmed. It's not a JoJo reference. I was right.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, there's a character named Joe Pendleton in a Warren Beatty movie called Heaven Can Wait. It's not that character either.
It's just a random name. So
just a random name, Jojo Pendleton.
I did get Rory Green, because Green. You have a thing for colors. You have another book called Crimson, right?
Yes.
What's the name of your next book? Vermilion.
Symbiont.
Vermilion.
No. Symbiont. It's the third book of my Fragment series, right? Which is
very excellent.
Oh, thank you. The book Magenta is a book that would be very, very difficult to publish in any mainstream publisher today. It's funny because I had sent this to my publisher who published Pandemonium. Big publisher, huge, one of the top 4 publishers in the world. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to say this is an interesting thing for a major publisher to say. I sent them this book, and they said, "Oh, we can't publish that anymore. The dystopian novel," I was told, "just doesn't do very well today." Well, that particular day that they responded to me like that, George Orwell's 1984 was #1 at Amazon. #1, 70 years after it came out, or 80 years after it came out, it was #1 on the charts. So, I mean, I wrote back and said, well, how much higher does it need to be? I mean, it's literally at the top slot.
#0. I don't know. I guess if
you're telling me that this kind of book doesn't sell anymore.
I mean, if the publishers were any clever, it's like, oh, Warren, come on, you're gonna have to compete with the greats. 1984. How can you compete with that? If they were any clever about it, but they decided not to be. They
Now,
can't
well,
even
what's
live
published,
play. Jeez.
yeah, what's published today by the mainstream big corporations, big
Yeah.
businesses, and whether it's in Hollywood or in the music industry or in the publishing
Play it
industry,
safe. It's play it safe.
it's play it safe, play it safe.
Play by the numbers. I mean, I thought, you know, AI that makes scripts is still better than Star Wars prequel, the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Well, the Star Wars sequels were practically made by AI. I mean, you know that that's a gimmick that they use, which is called the mystery box, where they just pluck ideas from other places, throw them into a box. And the point that I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to point out with Magenta for your generation, frankly, and for people who are younger, is you
Warren, how old do you
matter
think I am?
in your 20s.
27.
I was right.
No.
So shut up. So yes, for younger people your age, is to realize that the individual matter is what changes the world. The person who disagrees with everybody else is where all progress comes from. And so the idea that we all should conform, that we all should stay in believing the same thing, and that the one person who disagrees should be an outcast, and we should all get angry at that person for not agreeing with everybody else. You're going to destroy the whole world, the whole future, all progress, everything that you could look forward to if you adopt that kind of mentality. So, you know, you have to celebrate people who are different, who don't conform, right? And the individual is the most important element of all society. There's no such thing as society to begin with. That's a word. Individuals actually exist. You can touch them. They're real.
With their consent.
With their consent, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But society is just a vague abstraction.
Yes.
We are real. Individuals are what exist. The rest is just verbiage.
Repeat after me, everyone. You're all individuals, except that guy. Except that guy over there. He's not. That singular particular guy over there. And I know you're looking. You're not.
Right.
Oh my God, Monty Python's so good.
Yeah, Monty Python's great.
I can't think of a lot more stuff. Unless there's something you want to talk about.
No, I think that's it. I don't want to be too specific about the book, obviously, because I don't want to spoil anything. So, but it is a thriller. A thriller of ideas, which I hope is some kind of word of mouth picks up and people read. I especially would like young people to be able to read something that talks about these issues, since they're prevented from ever seeing anything like this in anything they consume. It would be nice if they actually got a chance to see something like this, to think about these ideas, because the world is going to be their future, and they're going to need to get serious about these principles and whether or not they make any difference, and they do. So I hope that there's some word of mouth, and I hope that some young people start to realize before it's too late what can happen if the great technology that we have today falls into the hands of people who want to run human society as though humans are machines.
Have fun. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for everything. Bye.
All right.
Take
Talk
care.
to you later.
See you later. Bye.